Okay, welcome to this third video in creating a customer ordering system. Now what we're going to discuss in this video is how to organize the entities and relationships in a diagram and how to use that diagram to create the lookups in the database. Okay, now the first rule that I'm going to introduce is the idea of no dead crows. This is the idea that when you are establishing the relationships with one of these little one-to-many symbols, you're going to try to draw the diagram in such a way that all the symbols look like this. They look sort of like a bird's foot, and the idea is that if they're this way round, the crow is alive. If it's that way round, the crow's dead. And the rule is none of these should appear in the diagram. We really don't want any sort of lying down flat crows like that either. We want the diagram as far as possible to have no dead crows. Now to do that, we look at the entities that we have and we organize them from the most populous to the least populous. That means we take the things that we've got a lot of and we put them at the bottom of the diagram, and the things that we've got fewer of, we put those at the top of the diagram. So for example, products. With a lot of products, we know that's going to go somewhere towards the bottom of the diagram. If we've got a lot of products, we would expect there to be even more product orders. So we put that below products. We are going to have a lot of orders, but we're definitely going to have more product orders than we have orders. So that is going to appear below the orders. So when we put in the relationship symbols, they should drop in. Hopefully, if I've done this right, maybe need to move up a bit. Oh, it's being annoying. Oh well, that's near enough. The symbol for between orders goes one order with many product orders, and it should go one product, oops, with many. Oh. Don't know why that one did that. It's not playing the game. It's supposed to be a grouped object so that when I grab hold of it, it's supposed to be a grouped object so that when I grab hold of it, the object, yep, it's not doing it. Try again. Oh dear. Come on. There we are. Got it. So when we drop it on here, the one-to-many, the relationship goes in this sort of standing up bird. Okay, now we've got fewer suppliers than we have products. Okay, we hope we have fewer customers than we have orders. We hope we have few employees, and we should have fewer couriers. So these are things that we should have few of. So if we have an employee related to an order, there'll be one employee will have many orders, and okay, again for couriers we would expect there to be one courier will be transporting many orders. One supplier should supply many products. That gives us the relationship. So we just fill them in like that. An easy way then is, because I know that one customer is going to have many orders, one employee will be responsible for many orders, and one courier would be responsible for transporting many orders. Now come on. There we are. Oh, come on. Play the game. Okay. Right. Got it. So our diagram, when we're finished with it, should look something like that. Oh no, we've got a little glitch there. This is because the order of this object is set too high, so I should be able to send the grouped object. If I select it there, I should be able to send it back. What's happening is I'm clicking select and it's not letting me select the object There's it there, doing it now properly. Order, send that backwards or send to the back, and there we are. It's all coming up, well, reasonably nicely. Well, it's as good as I'm going to want to fiddle about with it in the time that I have. I'll just clean up here by deleting those. Move this up. I don't know if I have to. I'll just save and close that. There we are. That's it. That's my diagram. Now I've specifically put things in here that you probably won't need. For example, employees. I think in the system that you're doing this, there may or may not be a need for employees, but this is just to give you, and obviously I've left out things like deliveries, but this gives you an idea of how you're going to organize your oh, example DFD. That should be example ERD. Oh dear. Okay, so that's the idea. Now, with this in mind, with this principle in mind, we're going to look at how we then, if you organize your diagram like this, you now have a plan for how you are going to put lookups into each of these entities. So, for example, the orders are going to contain a reference or link, and they will look up the customer. The product order is going to contain a key field, a foreign key for the orders and a foreign key for the products, and it is going to look up. So the product order looks up to the orders looks up to the customer. And if you draw your diagram this way, it's a simple, easy mnemonic. If it looks up, it should, when you're creating the database, have a lookup. Couldn't be simpler. Okay, so hopefully I have here the database, and now I can start putting those fields in. Now, when I left you last, all I had was the customer table. I've created an order table which has an order number. It has a customer order ID, an order date, a delivery date, a date that the order was paid. These aren't particularly recommended fields, and obviously I've left out some fields here that you should consider, and you should consider carefully for yourself what fields you want to put in here. For the order line, I should just change that to design view. The only thing that's going in here at the minute is the quantity. There's other options that you could put in for the order line if you wanted to track other things associated with the specific item on the order. There's other fields you might want to consider putting in here. For example, if you sell the item at a particular time when the price is a particular number, the agreed price could be recorded in here. So if you want to sell 500 of an item, you might give a discount price associated with that particular order line. Then we have the product. There's all sorts of things you can put in here. Obviously the product has to have a name, the product has to have a description, the product has to have a price, the product has to have a maximum discount. The product probably will have to have some sort of current stock level, although there's another way to do that, which is to have a separate stock transaction record. And what we have here is a supplier table. Again, the supplier has the usual sort of things, some sort of description. Oh, I don't know what I've done here. I seem to. Oh, that's the. Oh, didn't open it. The supplier has a supplier name. Now, one of the things I wanted to demonstrate here was copying fields. So I'll just go into the customer view. Here's a little sort of bunch of fields that I've taken some trouble to allocate the appropriate properties to. Line 1, line 2. In postcode, I've put in an input mask, any other validation, and required attributes that I've put into those. If I've taken the trouble to put them in once, I don't want to have to put them in every time I do something like an address block. So here I can copy this customer billing address block setup, and if it lets me select them, which it should do, I should be able to right click and say copy, but obviously it's not going to let me do that, so I'm going to have to use a keyboard shortcut Control C. Having pressed Control C with those 4 selected, I can then move to the supplier, and I can then use the Control V to paste them all in. Now they're set to customer. I want to take the word supplier and I want to put it in there. Okay. I want to change that CB for customer billing. I want to change that to supplier. Again, the keyboard shortcuts for this are F2 to start editing something, the home key to move to there, and then it's just a matter of putting in the appropriate keys. So it should be quite a fairly fast process to put those in. That's F2 home, a couple of delete keys, and that's got that. And similarly here, I want to put these in as supplier. There we are, Control V, customer billing, supplier, Control V. So that's a nice quick way to get an address block from one table put into another table. Now you might, or you should certainly consider putting in other things like appropriate contact details. And I have to remind you, a really quick way of doing that is to raid them from somewhere like here, where I've set up some sort of fancy validation rule. There's no need for me to redo this work. If I've done it once, I'm putting it in here, and I want to be able to put it in here. So I just want to be able to copy and paste it and edit it. You will get no credit. I repeat, 0 credit for repeatedly doing something. Anytime you are doing something where you're going, oh, I've done this before, why am I doing this over and over again? It's because you're an idiot, and you will be penalized for doing something that that can be copied and pasted. So if I have something like a telephone number where I might have put in a fancy input mask or some fancy validation rule, certainly I've done that in those two. Now again, I'm just going to use Control C, table supplier, Control V, and then I'm just, now should probably mention how I'm doing that. I'm double clicking there to highlight a whole word, so that when I use Control C on the keyboard, I'm just double clicking that and using Control V to paste it in from the keyboard. So I'm getting my edits. I'm not having to spend my time doing, this business of, carefully putting my cursor on there and carefully highlighting, carefully moving it back. There are keyboard shortcuts for these things, and using them would be really helpful. So all the effort that I put into making sure the field size was what I wanted, making sure that the validation text was what I wanted, and making sure anything else in here has been carefully set up, then that effort is being duplicated. It's not the benefit of that effort is being duplicated. Okay, now what I want to do now was look at how I'm going to start connecting these together. Now, as I mentioned in here, I have, and it's a good idea to have this on a diagram or to have some other way to have printed out, written down before you try to create your database. You need to have the sort of scheme set out clearly for you. So working from a diagram like this, I'm going to say, okay, here's my order line, which is the sort of product order. I'm going to want to put some new fields in here, which are going to be lookups for the order and the product. Okay. Now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to use the lookup wizard, and here I'm not going to type the values that I want. Now I'm going to look them up from a table that already exists. Now I know from my diagram that the order line or product order looks up to the order. So in my simple mnemonic, it looks up the order number. So here it is here. Here's the table order. And the field that I'm going to want to put in here is the order ID. Now if I have taken the trouble, which I did, to make sure that this was selected as a key field, the key for this, then when I do this, it will automatically put in the correct information. Now, okay, now at the minute it's giving me a little error here, and this error is happening because the order number has got nothing associated with it. Okay, so I'm just going to move that around. You'll also notice here, this is the caption, not the order ID. I selected order ID, but what you'll see is the caption that was selected, which is this order hash. Okay. Now you can see it's going to use the same label, the order ID. I'll just put in a little reminder, do not use multiple values. Now you may get an option to limit to list. That should happen, that will be relevant because we will want to make it that you can't have an order line for an order that doesn't exist. When I hit finish, it's going to give me a message telling me that the table has to be saved before the relationship can be created. Save now. I'm going to say yes. I have a bad feeling that this might not work because I have got so many things open here, which is always a bad idea to have too many things open. But let's just hit yes. Oh, yay, I was successful. Now you'll notice that this says, this is the order ID, and it says number here. This, if I look in the table that it comes from, order ID is an auto number field. In this table, it is a number. Now I'll just review what's happened. This has made this a lookup, and it has made this it's made the appropriate relationship. If you look at the database tools and you go into relationships, you will see that it has automatically put this in here. Now I want to ensure referential integrity. Now in this old version, Access 2000, I couldn't do that going through the wizard, and I have to do it in here where I enforce referential integrity. Oops. I double click it. Somehow I managed not to double click on the right thing. I'll try again. Come on. There we are. Selected. Double click. There we are. Enforce referential integrity. So this means when I'm creating an order line, I cannot create an order line with an order ID that doesn't exist. Referential integrity is going to be enforced. Now it's going to say that this is locked. And this is where I have definitely made the mistake of having too many things open. So I'll just cancel that, go back here and just close down a lot of these things. Just close them. I wish there was a quick way to do this. Possibly there is. Let's just get rid of that so that that's over there. I'll just close everything down. That's a quick way to do it. Then go to Database Tools, start going to the relationships again. And now I want to enforce referential integrity. Now obviously it would make more sense if I built all my relationships and then closed everything and then went in here and enforced the referential integrity that I need on all of the relationships. As a rule of thumb, in databases for A-level projects, referential integrity should be enforced almost everywhere. There are some rare circumstances where you won't be enforcing it, but I doubt that many of you will end up with that. Now, I hope that's been helpful. I hope that you understand the point of this little lesson. It is to speed up the process of creating these relationships in this and making them work as smoothly as possible. The technique that you may have been taught in the book is to create the relationship in here. That tends to be less productive. The main reason that this way of doing it is more productive is because it means that when you have an object such as an order line, it means that the orders that it can be applied to are available as these lookups. And if you don't make the lookups before you make the relationships, the system will block you being able to create the relationships, or even worse, it will duplicate relationships, which will quickly make your database unstable. Okay, now I hope this has been productive. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.